Hello everyone and welcome back to Gadael Zoo. Yeah, the first episode is now 2 weeks ago and I just jumped back into a live stream yesterday evening and I thought to give it a go again, and I have to say that Parkitect, it just, I always remember before jumping into an episode how great that game is, and then, I'm really always enjoying playing it. I would love to have even more time to play it, but to be honest, this episode is going crazy. I didn't really expect it to be that nice. You can potentially tell already from the thumbnail if you've seen that, or maybe even you get excited by the thumbnail, or you got excited by it, I don't know, but I can definitely tell that the idea about this whole series turns out to be working way better than I thought. So at the very beginning, it obviously wasn't that I was the very first one to build a zoo in Parkitect. Obviously people have been doing that as well in the past, but I just wanted to do it as my own approach, and I've been on Reddit a fair bit to check out what people have been doing in terms of zoo design and stuff, and wanted to see what I can do better about it. And there are like two things I need to talk about in today's episode. So first things first, we are going to plan out the whole park as a zoo, and then if there will be a way to have some mods in there with animals by the time being that I'm about to finish, that'll be awesome. If not, we are going to then make it really a theme park-ish area. I'm really thinking that this might be the best approach of doing it. So maybe we put a carousel or stuff in already, because this could potentially be in a zoo anyways, so that's not the big deal. But like coasters and stuff that use the enclosures, I'm willing to build later, because I don't want to destroy the immersion of a zoo first of all. But we definitely have a look into it. Maybe we can in the meantime do some stuff or not. But yeah, you will see that I'm preparing this enclosure here, which could have been somewhat of a big cat enclosure, potentially lions or whatnot. I definitely need to build a shelter after this episode, because that's one thing I didn't do yet. But the idea is to use the terrain painting as much as I can to just simulate that this has been used in the past by animals. As you can see, there are different kind of ground textures working around. I was trying to somehow fake the ground texture where the animals would have been running the most, so that you can actually follow a path. And then I needed to look into actually making this rock work a bit higher, because if we are talking about big cats, since they can climb, they would definitely be jumping out of this enclosure anyways. So yeah, as you can see here, as always, we try also to build a natural border. This is by just doing this water lake. Obviously big cats will go in the water, but they tend to avoid it as much as possible to go outside of the other hand side. And as you can see in real life zoos, it kind of works pretty often that these animals they just see the water as a border, which is pretty funny. So sometimes you really have the lions and stuff, actually not lions maybe, but other animals that could potentially still hurt you or do harm you. They still have the enclosure fairly open, to be honest. Like big cats, to be fair, they would have some more security, so I might just look into it to make more like a chain fence in between there as well. But you always have to make sure as well that there is some kind of visibility guaranteed for the guest. And yeah, I was trying some various things here and there, but in the end, I have to say this episode was pretty straightforward. As you can see, we've been managing to do the enclosure to its, I think 80% finished by now already, and I was just testing a few things here and there, and since I was doing that on stream, people were then recommending to maybe move the trees a little bit, because they have been a bit too close as well to the border of the enclosure. And here you can see this is like the first viewing gallery I wanted to put down, that is put here to make sure that you can see the animals. And below this area we do have pretty much what will be the staff pathing. I do have to put the staff pathing in there and then work with some ground covers, as I'm doing over here. I just really want to make sure that the staff pathing is incorporated in this park as if this would be a backstage area, like a serious backstage area where actually cars could also just drive along to make sure, because like in a zoo you do carry quite a lot of things around, and you would potentially like to have something better than only a small backstage pathing. But you know, you will see in a bit how I tackled this. But yeah, as you can see, with all these ground covers over here, it really starts looking a lot more natural with pathing. I love this, and I think this does work kind of nicely indeed in Parkitect. So I was hoping that it would work this way. I was a bit uncertain at the beginning because I couldn't really get the same texture to work, and I still wanted to have this like semi-broken brick texture, if that makes any sense to you, but in the end I just decided to go with a little bit of a mixture. You quite often see that you have like a main texture of the ground pattern, but to the sides of the pathing it kind of just emerges into only concrete, so that you don't have really that texture in it. It's just like a flat concrete, which then is also overgrown and stuff like that. But yeah, in general this is what I wanted to do, and well, as always, it's me struggling with the roofs again, but at a point in time I just decided to just stop doing it on the grid and just going to do this on my own, just by placing it as precise as possible with the free movement, and actually this looked a fair bit better than what I've done before. And yes, obviously this area over here will be the main entrance area, and it's not like in a theme park where you would go like full Main Street-ish here. This will be a lot more looking like actually in a zoo, where you would have like, I don't know, an information kiosk at the beginning, and then you will have the entrance, you will have the ticket booth. Maybe there's already the entrance to a smaller indoor area, whatever. I'm planning to do this on the left hand side. After you join the park, on the left hand side there should be the first greenhouse or whatever, like a small one where you would have all the small animals rather than bigger ones, and just at the very beginning. And as you can see, this one over here will be our staff room, the first one actually, since we will have a lot more of those. But if there would also be like, I think it makes sense to have one here, because in zoos you also have like guided tours, and these guided tours usually start off at the entrance of the park, and so this is at the zoo, and so it would make sense that you have a staff room also at the very beginning of your park, and this is what I'm doing over here. Yeah, I wanted to go with a little bit of a different design, something that is also very, I don't know, it's just very genuine. It's nothing major, crazy architectural styled. It's just a little bit more modern than what you see with the entrance building, but it's not modern enough to talk of a too modern building that couldn't be in a rundown zoo. Because the idea about Gadael Zoo is that this is like a rundown zoo that doesn't exist anymore as a zoo and has been turned into a theme park. And this is why I wanted to make sure that I incorporate as much different building styles that could have been introduced over the time, but they are not as modern as they would be, because obviously if this is then turned into a theme park eventually, it still is kind of, you know, more modern than it would have been back then when it has been turned into, if you know what I mean. So let's say it has been changed into a theme park in the mid-90s, so the most modern architectural style that the zoo has had maybe is like an early 90s style, and this is definitely what this building should reflect. So this could be one of the latest installments in terms of architectural style of the zoo. So this is this building and also the viewing gallery next to it, because they are like fairly modern, so definitely 90s vibes to it, maybe even later, but I think we shouldn't be that crazy about the detail, because at the end of the day it's just a game, and Parkitect is not as realistic as, for example, Planet Coaster could be. So I think it's totally okay to go with a little bit of a mix mash here. And you know what, it would be still okay to say that the zoo has been turned into a theme park in the early 2000s. I absolutely don't have any issue with that, but maybe you can come up with an idea in the comments. So what do you think? Which would be the year where it has been turned into a theme park? Would it also make sense to look into the history of zoos recently? Because like I remember that a lot of local zoos have been closing in the 90s and in the early 2000s. So this is nothing too far-fetched here, to be honest. Like it's definitely something I at least believe that I do know about. I'm not entirely sure, but if you have more info on that, please let me know in the comments down below. I'm pretty sure that this has been the time where a lot of zoos that maybe have the wrong approach didn't make it, and so they have been turned into something completely different. And yeah, one of those things could be a theme park. But yeah, you can see I wasn't too happy with this corner over here, so I was putting a chimney here and also another little bit of an exhaust. This could be like an air vent that gives like this, just this very little detail, which I do have to put on the other buildings as well. Yeah, then I was also putting another staff pathing here, which goes then to the other shops back there, to make sure that this is all connected. And then I was basically spamming a lot of foliage here and there to make sure that this area looks as it should look. And you know, as in zoos, there's a lot more nature going on. You don't need these kind of wide viewing angles to see the coasters. It's all a bit more hidden to make sure that the animals don't get annoyed too much, and so you're willing to make sure that there are enough of natural kind of viewing blockades, if that makes any sense to you. But I feel like this is a cool bit that you can use these trees. For those of you who are wondering, I am using a fair bit of mods here. So for example, I use the mod free camera. This is why I can choose multiple viewing angles. I have definitely a lot of things downloaded as scenery items, for example, the path covers and stuff. But most importantly, I have the collision check disable mod for trees and stuff, so that I can sync them into each other as much as I want. And you will see that in a bit how much of an effect that can have. And also, you don't have any constraints on how high you can move things, so you can basically raise and lower pieces by 1 centimeter, which is pretty cool, because then you can actually make things look a lot more nice by just, you know, slightly moving them and sinking them into the ground. And yeah, so also I have these picnic tables from Shy Guys World, which are awesome, and just putting some here and there to make sure that we have at least some, painting them a bit more like looking, so that they're looking like concrete. And yeah, now the last bit of this episode is about really putting the details in. You can see here these signs. They work pretty nicely as kind of info signs, if you will, that kind of display which kind of animal is in there. And then I use these little bollards here to round off the area, just to make sure that they follow the more natural flow of this area. And well, the last bit of this episode is all about foliage, so I don't want to talk too much about it. I want to start now telling you that this is about the end of this episode, and also make sure that you guys check out the other videos. Today there will potentially be also a Jurassic World Evolution episode. We are nearly done with the Claire Deering DLC scenario, which was really good, I have to say. And I enjoyed it quite a bit. Also, I'm not sure if there will be any Planet Coaster tomorrow, because I'm pretty busy today and tomorrow, and so I don't know if I'm able to record anyways. So, about Parkitect, I have no idea. I try to have an episode next week ready. I have a little bit of a few days off, so maybe I can get it done. I would really love to, because I feel like this is really going to be awesome here. It is a lot of fun. So yeah, let me know in the comments down below how you like this new entrance area. Do you have anything that you would recommend to do? And yeah, let me know. Otherwise, if you enjoyed it, give it a like, and also subscribe if you're new here and want to see more of this. And that's about it. See you next time, guys, and have an awesome weekend. Bye!